Welcome to this deep dive into the official document, uh, Investigation Termites Gouvernementalists, SRE.
Yeah, it is a really fascinating read.
Right, because usually when you think about a country's foreign affairs department, you picture, I don't know, diplomats in tailored suits shaking hands, or maybe just a fluorescent lit waiting room where you go to renew a passport.
Right, it feels very standard. But if you look at the documents for Mexico's Secretariat of Foreign Affairs, the SRE, that waiting room is actually, well, the control room of a fortress.
Exactly, and our mission today is to decode this bureaucratic powerhouse for you.
Well, if you look at how Mexico's cabinet is legally structured, under Article 26 of the OAPF, the SRE isn't just some administrative basement office. It's ranked second in power.
Wow, right under the president's inner circle.
Exactly. They act as the ultimate gatekeeper of Mexican identity, territory, and, diplomacy.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with identity. The SRE handles who gets to be Mexican, both at home and abroad. I like to think of them as this, giant global bouncer checking IDs at the door of the nation.
I like that analogy. And that bouncer has a few different clipboards because the Directorate of Passport Offices doesn't just issue domestic travel documents.
Right, they do a lot more than that.
Yeah, they manage consular IDs for Mexican expats living all over the world, so they're tracking their citizens everywhere. They also handle document legalization for non-Hague countries.
But they don't just track the people already inside the club. They decide who gets a membership in the first place, right?
Oh, definitely. The Director General of Legal Affairs, or DGAJ, manages all naturalization procedures and nationality declarations for children born abroad.
Oh, wow. So they are actively defining the borders of Mexican heritage.
Exactly. Regardless of physical geography, they use foreign policy tools to fiercely guard their internal domestic identity.
So they control the people. But a nation isn't just people, it's territory. Moving from who gets to be Mexican to who gets to own a piece of Mexico.
Right, the actual land.
And that same DGAJ department is heavily involved in managing corporate permits for foreign investors.
What's fascinating here is how they balance foreign investment with historical national sovereignty. There is this rule called the Calvo Clause under the Article 27 agreement.
Okay, what exactly does that do?
Well, it requires foreign investors to sign an agreement stating they will be treated as Mexican nationals regarding property ownership. So, if a property dispute arises, that foreigner cannot invoke their home government's protection.
Wait, so a foreigner can't just buy a beach house in Cabo outright. They must go through a specific SRE-approved trust.
In specific areas, absolutely. The SRE controls real estate in what's called the restricted zone.
Which covers a lot of ground, right?
Yeah, any land within 100 kilometers of the borders or 50 kilometers from the beaches.
Yeah.
Historically, this was basically a defense against foreign invasion.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, and to buy land there today, you have to establish a special trust called a fideicomiso.
So you don't actually own the land directly.
Right, a Mexican bank holds the title for you, and the SRE acts as the ultimate safeguard by officially authorizing that exact arrangement.
So the bouncer isn't just at the front door. They're essentially the landlord of the VIP sections on the coast and the borders.
A very strict landlord. But, the SRE doesn't just play defense. They project soft power globally through these decentralized organs.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because they aren't just enforcing these rules, they're running an elite academy to train the exact people who will run this massive machine.
Yeah, you have their International Development Agency, the AMEX side, and then their training ground, the Instituto Matias Romero, or IMR.
Right.
The AMEX-CI manages outward influence. So, scholarships for foreigners to study in Mexico, international scientific cooperation, and diplomatic tax exemptions.
And then the IMR handles the personnel side of things.
Exactly. They handle the rigorous entrance exams for the Mexican Foreign Service, the SEM, and all the diplomatic training.
So they're basically building the diplomatic corps from the ground up.
Yeah, because how do you maintain this complex web of identity and territorial laws over generations?
Where you have to train them early.
Exactly, by ensuring every diplomat is deeply steeped in this specific brand of Mexican international law and sovereignty before they ever get a posting.
That makes total sense. So what does this all mean for you? Well, if you ever plan to do business, study, or just buy a vacation home in Mexico, you will inevitably cross paths with the SRE.
Oh, they are inescapable.
Yeah.
They truly are the nexus point of Mexico's relationship with the rest of the world.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We started by calling the SRE a global bouncer. But given that they manage everything from an individual expat's consular ID to massive international real estate trusts,
It's a massive scope.
it really is. So, how does bundling intensely personal identity services with high level corporate legal approvals shape the overarching mindset of a nation's diplomatic corps? When the exact same department that grants you your heritage also acts as the landlord for the coastline, well, maybe that bouncer is actually the architect of the nation itself.